Hello and welcome to Rando Tech Info. Today we're going to be talking about gaming phones and the value they currently represent in the smartphone space, and if you should consider getting one. Special shout out to Josh, the RTI viewer who came up with the idea for this video. Let's get started. So, first phone on the list, in fourth place, is the Razer Phone 2. The Razer Phone 2 is not a bad phone. Let's get that out of the way right away. And in fact, the Razer Phone was the first phone to kick off, to me, the gaming phone craze, and really kind of made it a thing. So it's not that it's bad, it's just hard to recommend over the others because it's the lowest spec, it's the oldest in the group, it's rocking last year's 845 processor. And for me personally, I have trouble recommending it because the screen is very small. It's 5.7 inches. And while you're probably saying to yourself, well, 5.7 inches isn't that small, it is for a gaming phone. If you're trying to actually game on your phone, screen real estate matters. So to me, that 5.7 inch screen is kind of a deal breaker. But if you're somebody who is looking for a smaller phone that you can use, a gaming phone that you could actually still use one-handed, then maybe it's the phone for you. It does have a headphone jack. It does have the higher refresh rate. It's very affordable right now. I think you can get a Razer Phone 2 right now, new, for under $400. So it's great value for the specs that it does have. But like I said, for me personally, it's hard to recommend. It also does not have shoulder triggers, which a couple of the phones on this list do. And to me, shoulder triggers are really a game-changing experience. And if you're looking for a gaming phone, it's something you should really be looking for. Next up on the list is the Xiaomi Black Shark 2. The Xiaomi Black Shark 2 is great value in the space at under $500 for the specs that you get. The regular Black Shark 2 has the 855 processor. The Black Shark 2 Pro has the 855 Plus, the overclocked processor. Plenty of RAM, good speakers, big screen. A few things that hold the Black Shark 2 back from being higher on the list. One, no headphone jack. With Bluetooth latency, I feel like in gaming at least, having a headphone jack matters. You don't want to use Bluetooth headphones that are a half second behind what's going on your screen. So it loses points for that. It loses points for the lack of shoulder triggers, which are game changing and can be found on the other two phones that are on this list that we're going to be talking about shortly. And it loses points for the lack of higher refresh screen, although I'm sure some people would argue that you don't need a higher refresh rate right now because so few games utilize it. And while that is true, if you're playing PUBG or Fortnite, you're not getting a higher refresh rate on your game anyway. It does still future-proof the phone a little bit. I do think you're going to start seeing more and more games using higher refresh rates. So if you're going to call yourself a gaming phone, I think you should still probably have it. That said, I feel like the Xiaomi Black Shark 2 is a great spec phone for the money, and if you like its aesthetic and you get a good deal on it and you don't care about the jack and the shoulder triggers, pick one up. You're not going to be disappointed. You're going to get a good spec phone for a good price. Next up is the Nubia Red Magic 3. The Red Magic 3, I think there's an S version out now as well, which is like a Pro version, like the Black Shark has. Has the better processor, the 855 Plus. It's also got plenty of RAM, good speakers. It does have a headphone jack. It does have the higher refresh rate, and it does have the shoulder triggers. And as I said before, the shoulder triggers are game changing. If you're a gamer and you use them, you're never going to want to go back. The fact that you can keep your thumbs off the screen and use triggers up at the top is amazing. And if you're serious about gaming on your phone, in my view, they're kind of a must-have. There's really not much to not like about this phone, especially it's around $500 USD price point. Maybe the camera. The camera is good, not great, and it's single lens. It doesn't have the battery capacity of the ROG Phone 2 that we're going to be talking about shortly, but overall, it's a great spec phone for the money, and it's going to give you a really great gaming experience. So I highly recommend it, and I think if you're younger and you don't mind the gaming aesthetic that comes with it, you might want to get the phone anyway, even if you're not a gamer. And finally, number one, last on the list, the ROG Phone 2 by Asus. Truly a phone that has it all. It's got the big screen. It's got the forward firing speakers. It's got the 120 hertz refresh rate. It's got the headphone jack. It's got the triggers. And it's got a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, which is crazy. There are some power bricks that don't have 6,000 milliamp hours in them. I love the ROG Phone 2. I'm actually considering picking one up myself when the global version is released, hopefully later this month. And the price of it's not bad. The global version, people think are going to come in around $800 to $900, which is a little pricey, but when you consider what you're getting, it's not unreasonable compared to other phones in the US market. The 10-cent version of the phone, which is only available right now in China, is much cheaper. It's got a little less RAM, but honestly, it's probably a better value. But depending on where you live in the world, check your bands, make sure it works where you're at. And of course, if you ever have a question about that, drop me a line in the comments. I'll let you know if it'll work in your neck of the woods. So the ROG Phone 2, as I mentioned too, also has a great camera, dual lens camera. It's got the wide angle camera. It's got the same camera setup as on the Zenfone 6, which has been very well received up to this point. So there's really nothing you're missing with the ROG Phone 2. The only two real drawbacks I can see to it at all are the size of it with that 6,000 milliamp hour battery. It is a brick. It is heavy. You're going to notice it's in your pocket. And the only other issue I have with it is the gaming aesthetic. If you're somebody who has an issue with pulling a phone out of your pocket that looks like a teenager's phone, that looks like a teenager's gaming phone, if that embarrasses you, then you may want to think twice about the ROG Phone 2. But in my opinion, if you're getting one of these phones, you should just rock it proud anyway and not care about that kind of thing. So that's my list of the top gaming phones you can buy right now, the big four. If you have any questions about those phones, or if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please feel free to leave something down in the comments. As always, make sure you check your bands before you pick up any of these phones. Make sure any of these phones will work wherever you live. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to drop me a line in the comments. If you like this video or find it useful, a sub or a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, this is Rando Tech Info, signing out.